other athletes. I mean, there's no other jewelers doing what you're doing. You're represented by XL Sports, you said.
Yeah, so I'm represented by XL Sports Management. Shout out to Eric Eways and Matt Davis, my agents. You know, I think it was a fluke. Not a fluke. I'm sorry. It was just like a weird situation. So, you know, I've always had it. I've had a few different glow ups in my life, right? Business wise.
What were those? Just let's walk. What were the couple glow ups to lead to that to get to XL?
I had a reality TV show, right? It was on a small TV network called Fuse, and then it got the dumbed down version went to Google, which went to YouTube, right? And then popularity grew, social media got bigger, Instagram came out. Some of these things were before Instagram, and you know, I would have like another like milestone, as you would say, lack of a better term, glow up, right? So, you know, around 2017 when the Plain Jane song came out, I had made the joke reference. I retired. I was done with jewelry October 2016. I was just over it. I had overwhelmed. I was involved in a clothing brand with ASAP Rocky. I had a cannabis thing. So I was like, yeah, I'm just done with jewelry. So I retired on top, right? And then ASAP Rocky's like, nah, bro, you can't quit. Like, I ain't gonna let you quit, you know. And in January 2017, I posted the MJ in 45, the 45 jersey. I said, I'm back.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, ASAP Ferg recorded this song called Plain Jane, and he played it for me. And I was like, all right, cool. You know, I've been in 40, 50 rap songs, right? Even big ones, no big deal. I've had Drake shout me out, you know, you name it. I didn't know this was going to be a global hit. I didn't know it was going to be, you know, Ben Baller the Chain. I didn't know I was going to be trademarking that term.
Baller did. I was going to say, everybody knows the line Ben Baller did.
They really do know the song. Even if you don't know me, let's say, for instance, I could be somewhere like, oh, I know that song, you know? So, like, you know, I trademarked the name and things like that. So, like, you know, I'd say 2019 is just super random. And it all started from sneakers. There was a message forum that started and birthed a lot of people in the culture of sneaker collecting, fashion, you name it. And it was called Nike Talk. Oh. And a lot of people were on Nike Talk to get early release news, you know, leaks of pictures. There are Nike employees. It's a really amazing forum. This is, you know, circa 99 to like 2004. It's still around now. And it was really popping throughout the early 2000s. But, you know, Wale was on there. Kanye was on there. Just a lot of people were on there.
Sneakerheads. Wale's one of the biggest sneakerheads I know, too, by the way.
And I was way crazier than he was, right? Like I was beyond insane. And thank God I'm not. But there was a guy on there who was flipping sneakers, and he was really young. He was 15. And there's a company called Antisocial Social Club that started from Nike Talk, and just like, you know, huge companies, like big brands. So this kid, Eric Eways, he made the front cover. He made the front page of the Wall Street Journal as a sneaker reseller. Wow. And we were like a tight committee. We're like, oh, shit, okay. And then I made the Guinness Book of World Records. I sold my collection, and it hit like, you know, broke all the records. In fact, even Michael Jordan's Hurricane Katrina auction with all his personal pairs didn't beat like my sneaker auction, right?
What was that price tag looking like, just so we can have an idea?
It was just a little bit under $3 million in 2004.
A little under $3 million in 2004.
Yeah. It's crazy is I had invested maybe less than 60 grand into the collection.
Wow.
A lot was like connections, doing things. I was working with Nike, doing marketing with them, plugs, finding things, doing a lot of barter. I am a very, very, very big believer of the barter system. So
I'm not gonna lie, samesies.
Yeah, you know, hey man. So Eways, he ended up actually getting a degree at GIA, you know, which is you know, in gemology and jewelry and stuff and things. And I guess I didn't talk to him for a long time. He's like, hey, bro, I'm VP of a pretty big sports agency. And I was like, first of all, I know like 2 sports agencies, and maybe 3 because Clutch. And I was like, I know like 3, like, so let me hear it. And it was kind of like a pitch. He's like, yeah, so I'm vice president of XL Sports. I was like, oh, that's Derek Jeter.
That's big time, yeah.
Like, no, not just Derek Jeter, Ben. It's like, we have Tiger Woods, we have Peyton Manning, we have this, and this. And, you know, one thing about them was they're always picking up the new talent. They're really good at getting like young guys early. Like, you know, I mean, they represent Joker, you know, Jokic, and even like Trevor Lawrence, just getting new people. So like, they were like, hey man, we want to try something. Like, why the fuck you want to try something with me, man? Why can't you? You know what I mean? Like, bro, I'm old. I don't have many, like, I don't have many, like, chances. Like, I want to, theatrically, I'm represented by WME, right? William Morris. And I've been with CAA before. And I was like, have an agent and manager. I was like, so talk to me. What's up? And they were like, okay, we want to try something with people who aren't athletes.
Mm.
And I'm like, they're like, but you technically you were. So I was like, okay, tell me a little bit more.
Oh, yeah, I saw a football picture back in the day. Young Ben.
Yeah, got a scholarship playing football in college. D1 too, which is crazy, right? And then I played basketball. Basketball was more of my love, which is crazy, right? More than football. The only thing was, technically, I was better in football. I thought I was better in basketball, but I wasn't. I was. But I got to play a lot of great, against a lot of great people coming up. So that story too, XL liked. I guarded Steve Nash 2 years in a row in college. Played against Jason Kidd, Harold Miner, a lot of really great, some of the great, greatest players there were. So they liked the history I had, and they said, "Hey man, have you heard of NBA 2K?" And I was like, "Come on, man."
Like, don't stop playing. Listen to the stuff that you're getting tossed at you.
So they're like, "Hey man, they want to put you in the game." And I was like, bro, I'll do it for free. What the fuck are you talking? I'll do it. Like, come on, man. They're like, no, you can't do it for free. Like, likelihood and this and that. And I've been in NBA 2K now for 3 years in a row. And like, each year, like more things happen. Like, I think next year that they might be, in the playground, right, in the park. You might be able to buy my jewelry now, right? Because you can get like Off-White, Fear God stuff. So they're marketing, doing these things, and so I'm not realizing. And the best part about it is, my ego can get so inflated at times. My agent has to deal with people that are like, I mean, think about an average NBA starter.
Yeah.
Their contracts are, upwards of the 8-figure range. Yeah. So, if he has to deal with them, imagine, for me, even though he's like, yo, you're a little more difficult than that, Ben. You're a unique person, like you have a lot of plugs. I've never seen nothing like it before. There's something about you that's different. And I like it, but I'm going to be honest with you. You're not for everyone. And I was like, what's that supposed to mean? And he goes, look, like situation with Blake Griffin, when there was an issue with him on the bench with the ball manager or ball boy, whatever. And he's like, that incident stopped the check for him, or maybe he did certain things. It's like, so like, you got to tell people, hey man, this is what happens, boom. And you're a little loose with the verbs on Twitter. And, you have
you be tweeting up, boy. You be tweeting it up.
And like Kendrick Perkins would be like, yo, Ben, you got to chill out, bro. Like you
and if Kendrick Perkins is telling you to chill out, you on one.
I know. And like, for Perk to say that to me, so like, my agent's like, hey man, we got to find something that's going to work for you. And, you got to chill out. You got to, so like, they did a thorough cleansing of my Twitter, like thorough, like, they deleted like 35,000 tweets and just like, all right, you ready for sponsorships. So like, NBA 2K, Snickers, I have an NFL endorsement. I'm making the Snickers chain for the best NFL player, the hungriest player of the week. And, I get this Topps deal for baseball cards, and that ends up landing me an MLB endorsement, right? And then getting like, brand partnerships with Remy Martin, Moet, and things like that. And now with Captain Morgan, now I have an MLS sponsor. So I currently have every league. I have an MLS sponsor. I'm endorsed by the MLS. I'm endorsed by NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, and through XL and these things like, I have my own collaboration with the Dodgers coming out with NBA. I have an official Ben Baller Lakers hat coming out. I have an official Ben Baller Dodgers hat coming out. I have an official Ben Baller Seahawks coming out. So it's like, now I'm working with the LAFC and Captain Morgan to do something with MLS. And I'm like, this is
crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. It's really insane for a jeweler or whatever you want to call it. Anyone that's not a pro athlete to have these type of brand partnerships, endorsements, whatever you want to call it.
So for me, I always so one of the things I think is coolest about this is every time you go to whatever lane you go into, there's a certain look about it that when I see it, I know it's yours, and like, it's like, we know the BB, the logo and stuff, but can you just, when you first got those deals, first of all, I like to talk, we talk money talk here. So what was the biggest deal to date that you've done where like you couldn't believe that they was paying you X amount for you to do your thing? Was it jewelry or was it actually a deal? Because I know your jewelry.
Oh. Well, I mean, for jewelry, I've been upwards I've been upwards to like the 11, $12 million range for like a commission job, one job. But, uh, you know, that's a different thing. I love to have that being done for my trade, for what I do. But when it comes to like these corporate sponsorships and things, like, you might see somebody like, oh, I got paid 5 G's for 5,000 for an Instagram post today, or I got this and this. And it's like, I never really thought about it so much because the jewelry thing was always great for me and I can work at my own pace. And then, half a million gets thrown at you for a small campaign. And I'm like,
Yeah, you gonna listen.
yeah, that's a lot of money, and then $2 million gets thrown, and now I don't know how to act, because I don't mean that way in like I don't know how to like behave. I mean, like, you gotta take a little drive for a second and think about, like, like, I'll never forget that I lived in a 600 square foot apartment with 4 or 5 people, and my brother was away at school, so it was different. But like, I remember like, like thinking like, all right, well, what happens now? Or I worked at Burger King, I worked at Subway, minimum wage jobs, and you think about, yeah, I had some good times and I've made money here and there and I've lost it and whatever. But then you think like, okay, I just signed a contract with with something sports related for, a couple $1 million. This is, this doesn't even make sense to me, right? Like, is this real? And my wife is like, babe, I haven't known you more than 12 years. So, for what I know, I think that this is just how it's supposed to be for you.
She
So
sees your value though. That's dope.
yeah. So, I call one of my boys who's been around everyone from Russell Wilson to, you name it, just everyone. And he's like, Ben, I've known you for 30 years, bro. He's like, you deserve more than that and more than that. He's like, bro, this is something you've been putting in the work for so long. This is what they got to pay you now. He's like, you deserve it. And the way he said it, I wish I could articulate how, like, he just said it in such an ill way that it didn't make me feel so weird anymore.
Yeah.
So
That's real. When like that's kind of for me. I want to know like how long it like. So you talked about you worked at Burger King. You worked at these places 600. What was that in between period to where you like were grinding and then like you started just making money? Like there's this in between that nobody really talks about. They always talk about the before and they usually talk about the glow up, but what's that in between section look like for you?
that in between was a whole lot of just running around.
Yeah, doing
When I
what?
mean running around, I mean like, from opening your eyes to closing your eyes. There's no 9 to 5. I gotta open my eyes until I close my eyes. And I would end up, I wouldn't even know. I would be, in one part of town, another part of town, and I'm like, oh shit, I got a gig tonight. I'm gonna be DJing here, boom, and I'm gonna go here. After I finish DJing, oh man, I'm gonna go network at, Gabrielle Union's house or whatever. I'm just gonna be all over the place. And it was tiresome.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, man, I refuse. I refuse to lose. I refuse to lose until I would always say, like, until I get a house in the hills. And then,
And then you got a house in the hills. What
yeah,
happened?
and then you're like, like I got kids, I having a house in the hills, they can't, play on the street the same and certain things. Like, nah, let me go get a little more land. I don't know. But so going on, that middle part, you feel like you're there forever. Do you know? The beginning part definitely is tough, right? But that middle ground, like you're talking about, you're right. No one talks about. They talk about the glow up, but they talk about before. No one talks about that. That middle part, man. It's not like you're on cruise control either.
No.
It's like you're going 65, then you go 35, then you go 25, then you go 47, and then you go back to be like, yo, man, can a guy just please be at 55 and just be on cruise control? Like, can we just be smooth? Yeah, you go up peaks and valleys, just down. So, I had there's times where I'm like, all right, well, just in case, let me sell my CDs. Just in case, let me sell some shoes. Let me because I just want to make sure I'm okay.
You was rapping or you was selling CDs of rappers?
No, I'm sorry. I was just selling like my personal collection of CDs and things like that and whatever. And thank God I didn't ever have to sell, like, because I was in the music business professionally. Yeah. Thank God I never had to sell like, memorabilia of mine, like my accolades, like my platinum awards, like my Jay-Z first album, platinum album, and like Friday the soundtrack.
What? Tell me what you do in the music. Like help me catch.
So I was an executive. I was an A&R, which stands for artist and repertoire. That's pretty much, one of the most important, I mean, there's obviously a lot of important parts, right? People are like, oh no, the point guard, who cares about a strong forward, right? It's the point guard or it's
You're
the center or whatever. The A&R would be like the point guard,
okay.
right? Of the label. And with that said, you're the person that's going in the studio with the artist. You're out there, you're presenting it to the executive at the label. You're orchestrating the whole vision, from the marketing. Oh, we're gonna roll out like this and this. And I'll be honest with you, you know, I started out like bottom level of Priority Records, rap, independent, just powerhouse. Real true independent label. Ice Cube's on a label, NWA, the house that birthed gangster rap. And in 2 years, I became vice president of the company.
Like how,
Just from
man? You just say these things so casually. I know you said you be grinding, but like, how does one start out at the bottom of the
no,
company?
you gotta you really have to see, your vision has to be X-ray. You gotta almost be like, you have to be a fly on the wall in 10 rooms. Like you have to morph yourself and clone yourself and like, what's going on in there? I know what's going on. In a way, it may suck. You have to be nosy in a way. You have to really be fussing all the time. You have to know what's going on. And I was able to climb up the ladder. I was able to see doors that weren't open, and I have to figure out a way to open them because no one's going to open them for me. And you know, in '96, there was an artist named Jay-Z that came across our lap. We're like, hey, we're going to pick him up on a distribution deal. And I met Dame and met Biggs, and me and Dame and Biggs became really good friends, and we're lifetime friends. It was weird because I of all people, right, of all the three guys at Rockefeller, Jay was the least person I had a relationship with, and I've told him this before. I've said it publicly. I didn't think Jay was going to be a big star,
Ben,
and
how?
yeah, I just didn't think, because at the time there was other things I was interested in, and like I'm telling Biggs, and Biggs is the CEO, the CFO of the company or COO of the company, and even he's like, yeah, I didn't think he's gonna be that big, but look at it now, and like Dame always knew he's gonna be big, and we joke about it. And there was a time where I could have had Jay-Z come on this R&B. I had a girls group that I was developing at a rap label. Like, imagine like if you only represent all men's basketball stars, and then you're like, I want to represent a girl. I want to represent Renee Montgomery. Like, wait a second, WNBA? No, bro, we represent. So it was like a
Yeah.
different thing. Not only was it R&B at a rap label, I had three girls, from the South,
Yeah.
and there was a hot rapper at the time, and they're like, yo, dude, let's just put Jay on the track because Jay signed on a label. The release would be easier. I was like, nah, I don't know, man. I think we got to go here. And it was like actually a struggle for me to go get the other art. It was funny. I think Jay kind of low key was like, man, fuck this dude, man.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he's like,
Who did
and
you get on the label? Who was that big artist at the time when Jay
Keith
was?
Murray.
Huh?
Keith Murray.
Okay, yeah.
So
Okay.
Def Squad, and the funny thing was I was his DJ on the tours, and Redman too. Like I was part of Def Squad, so it was like my loyalty was there, and it was a weird thing. Skip 20 years later in 2016, they do the 20th anniversary of Reasonable Doubt. The first album is actually my favorite album, of course, because I worked on it, but it was my favorite album, honestly, truly, as a fan of Jay-Z. And, I remember they closed everything down for Jay to come in, and he walks in and he's like, what's up, man? And I was like, hey, man, I really appreciate you guys asking me to host in LA, because they did it in New York and LA. And he's like, yo, man, you have to. This is your home. This is your town. And I said, hey, man, this is my favorite album. No cap. Like, this is my favorite album. He's like, no, me too, for real. Like, and, Jay, and I think Complex was there. And I said, I didn't think Jay was going to be a huge star. And then I think maybe Biggs said it just to make me feel better, so that Jay didn't look at me like, this fucking guy, right?
All right.
Biggs was like, no, me too. I didn't think it was going to be like that. And you think about it now, like, not even just on the level of the magnitude of what he is as a rapper, but as a businessman, as a mogul, right? And so, that was a big part. I think me being in the music business for 5 years, it was such an enormous part of my life that, it was such a big part of me that most people don't even know. I didn't even accept the fact that I was a jeweler until maybe 2017. And I had already been a jeweler for 11 years at that point. And I never thought about it. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm a jeweler.
So like, if you had to describe who you were, if people saw you as a jeweler, what did you see yourself as then? Like, because everybody probably saw you, Ben Baller did the chain, all that. So yeah. What did you see yourself as?
I just told people I was an entrepreneur, I was a businessman. But I mean, of course I say I was, but it was just, it for some reason didn't sit right. Like, have you ever seen the movie Last Dragon?
No. Yes,
You
man.
never saw Last Dragon, Bruce Leroy? You never saw that?
I don't quote me. I might have. I don't know. I don't want to answer this
So,
publicly in case they be mad.
okay, so Last Dragon is a hood classic, New York, a black family, a black man who is obsessed with Bruce Lee and karate and martial arts and everything. And there's a scene in the movie where the whole movie he's through Brooklyn, New Green, Queens, he's looking all over throughout the city, and he's searching for the master.
Mm.
He's looking, where's the master? He's trying to find the master, and he's following all these steps. He's going through all these crazy things. He's going all through all these obstacles, and at the end of the movie, he fights the main bad guy. They finally have the final battle, and he's getting his ass whooped. And the guy goes, "Who is the master, Leroy?" And Leroy finally he's like getting like crushed, and he goes, "I am," and turns up, and that's it. And everything changed. The momentum changed, and everything. The tables turned. I felt like right after that point, I was in New York at Madison Square Garden, and I remember like I had said to somebody, "I'm a jeweler," and they're like, "Well, of course you are. I've heard of you." And this is somebody that was from the Upper East Side, not your typical hip hop person or anything else. And I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I mean, I've heard it all the time and whatever, boom. But like, I had arrived and I had accepted it because I had been holding on to that music career and those things and whatever, and not accepted the fact that I had put it down in so many ways and changed the game. I mean, I won Jeweler of the Year that year too. Like I had changed the game, and I have remolded like jewelers that have tattoos, not coming to work and wearing a suit, not wearing at least a button down shirt, and just the unorthodox style of just even my behavior. So I think I embraced it to the fullest, and it took that many years for me to embrace it. But now that that's happened, like I'm doing these brand partnerships, all these other things. So it's kind of like, all right, well, what's next?
That's the question. And so when you're doing all these other brand partnerships, you started out as an athlete. So it's not like this world is so unique to you. But Drake talks about it all the time. First of all, some of the stuff you're doing, it's very Drake-esque, like in a sense of a $185 million plane. Drake did that through a deal. Like, he didn't pay a dime for his Air Drake. I see the stuff that you're doing is very similar in a sense of just you being there is worth millions and millions of dollars. So when you start to look at the what's next, you ask yourself, like, where do you see yourself going? You've already been one of the most successful jewelers out there. A&R, you were on Reasonable Doubt. You worked on that. Like you've already this influencer, entrepreneur, this whole brand sponsor. You're killing it. Deals there. Like what excites you at this point? Like what makes you excited?
It's funny you say that, right? So I was talking to somebody who is somebody I look up to. He's actually younger than me, right? But he's very successful. At the same time, you said Drake, right? Um, you know, we're definitely friends.
Yeah.
At one point, we were pretty close friends, and there's no falling out of nothing. It's just two busy guys, and I'm a dad. I got 3 kids. I'm a husband, and I respect all the moves that Drake has been doing since the beginning. Um, and during that year, summer 16 was a tour, and then we're going into 17, and this was during the time that year.
Yeah.
He did 5 sold out shows in LA, Staples Center, 5 nights in a row. It was like never heard of, never done before. And on the 5th night, he brought out Ice Cube and Dr. Dre, and we're walking back because all the shows were the same. I think I went to 2 or 3 shows, and it's just the same. I think a couple times he surprised me and changed 1, 2 songs, and I was like, all right, I wasn't paying attention. I was like talking to people in the crowd, and I remember like I know that the end of the show is coming, so I'm walking to the back of the stage, and it's an enormous stage. And he stops. He goes, yo, check this out, man. I got to stop the show for a second. And he did a 2-minute dedication to everything. He's like, yo, man, Ben, I can't thank you enough for everything you did for me when I didn't have the money. You picked me up in the airport. You got me cars. You got me weed. You got me, whatever. And
He was taking care of him when he first got out.
And he was like, bro, I'll never forget that shit, And I was like, I think a lot of people that didn't like me necessarily, that were in the audience, that were famous people, and there's like, you could be famous, and then there's Drake that's like, way up. And for him to say that to me, I think people were like, what? Like, and I was blown away because I was so blown away that I couldn't even, no one recorded it or nothing. Like, some people got like, I think snippets of it, but I had to reach up to the stage. He reached down, and there's a picture of us, doing a handshake out there, and it fucked me up. So when I thought about that, I thought, hey, listen, man, I've always pushed the envelope, you know, and like he's always done it, and he's changed it. People are like, oh, okay, what's he doing? All right, well, doom. The trend goes that way,
Yep.
and I felt like, all right, that's something. It's my responsibility, my duty to be that way, because they're looking up to me, because I was doing these things in 07 to 08, and I was balling, and I was doing these things on MySpace, and people were looking at me. So I was like, all right, now I kind of laid in the cut. It's time to not lay in the cut anymore. It's time to turn up, right?
Yeah.
So, I had a conversation recently with someone I look up to who's been in the business entertainment, and I said, yo, man, I'm feeling really uninspired lately. Like I feel like I'm in a weird position. Like, you know, um, I don't know, man. I'm lacking creativity. And he goes, bullshit, because you're not like he is not. You're just. He goes, listen, man. So you're just bored. And that's all it is. He goes, one single. You pinpoint to one thing. He goes, like just look at something, and I know you could find inspiration, or you'll find, so you could turn something. Your aesthetic is so cold that you made a mini fridge cool. Like it was already cool for a college kid, but you made it gold and made it cool. Like he's like, you took a barbecue grill and Kingsford, a household name that they have at Home Depot, and every grocery store in America has Kingsford charcoal, and you made it something cool. And I was like, okay, yeah, I guess. And so, you know, what makes me exciting? What makes me excited these days is something my kids can relate to, because there's a really big, like, I got my start late in life, right? Like I have friends who have kids that are in their 20s.
Mhm.
Most of my friends' kids are at least in high school. My kids are a lot younger. My wife is 11 years younger than me. So, for them to see things on video games and stuff, and be like, oh, it's dad, they understand when we go out, I get stopped a lot. But, you know, some of these deals that I'm doing now, I almost feel like I'm doing it to look cool to my kids. You know what I mean? Like I,
100%. 100. That's the dopest though, for
I
real.
want to be a hero to them. Yeah. So right now I'm in talks of trying to pop up into maybe your next Target, your next Walmart, and maybe your next grocery store and things like that. So I'm doing more household name things.
Where you gonna
That
pop up as though? Don't be
I
what you
can't,
gonna
I
pop
can't,
up
I
as?
can't, I can't, I can't specifically say just yet, because there's legalities.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm in the middle of a contract right now, but no, it's I feel like it's so typical to say, hey man, there's been a lot of Asian hate and things, whatever, and I'm not going to disregard it. I'm just saying, with that said, I truly did grow up with no role models. There was Bruce Lee, and there was, that was it. And so growing up, seeing that, it's a different thing. And not, even though I didn't want to be a role model, I never had been. I never want to be a leader necessarily. I just want to be like, hey, listen, this is what I'm doing. You want to fuck with it? All right, cool. This is what I'm doing. It may not work for you, and
Yeah,
maybe it works for you, but
yeah.
this is what I'm doing. So with that said, I do have a following. I do have Asian Americans. I have other people, whether it be Latin, Black, whatever it may be, that follow me. So just overall, I got to be careful about the moves that I'm making and things that I'm doing and stuff. And with that said, I want the Asian community and the Asian youth to know you don't have to own a bodega. You don't have to have a liquor store. You don't have to have a nail salon. You don't have to have all the typical shit that's going on in the Asian parts of your town. You don't have to have a Chinese restaurant. You don't have to have a laundromat. None of that. You could be a jeweler. You could be an NBA 2K. You could be a rapper if you want. You could be a scientist. You could be a teacher. You could be a TikTok dancer. Whatever it is you want to do, then do it. But if you're gonna do it, then go all the way. If you're gonna be a trash man, be the president of trash man. Like, be the best. And that's just where I'm at with it. So I feel like, all right, look, man, you see me in these stores, you see me on these apps, you see me doing these things. All right, cool. I am doing it for me and for my kids, but at the same time, I'm doing it for the generations beneath me. I want this legacy to last, to be like, hey, man, no, that's not true. Because you know what? Ben was on the box of Pop Tarts. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? And
yeah,
Ben was on a microwave, or who, you know what I'm saying? Like, you
yeah.
never know, right? People are coming at me with the craziest things in the world. I'm like, makeup? Like, why would I want to do makeup? Like, no, boom,
Come
just like,
on, A-Rod. A-Rod is releasing a line of makeup right now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, people hitting me up with crazy things like, hey, would you ever want to design furniture? And I go to this page, I'm like, wait a second, this is a famous furniture company. Like, why the fuck would I want to design furniture? They're like, we just want your stamp of approval. I'm like, you got to talk to my agent, man. I'm not, let them deal with it. It's just crazy. I've manifested a lot of this, but now it's like, it's really coming to me. So the
Say
things that I'm
manifested.
doing.
What do you mean by that? Like I'm a firm believer. I speak my life into existence. Like a lot of people think like, oh, it's crazy. And I'm like, man, I've been talking about this for X amount of time. So how do
I'm gonna
you
tell you right
manifest?
now.
Yeah.
You know how they say, be careful what you wish for, right? Like I manifest destiny like right? Like I'll be like, yo, man, whether it be, man, I gotta get in this car. Man, I need my kids to get into school. In order for them to get into school, I need to do this, this, and this,
Oh,
and I need to cover A, B, and C. I feel like I want to be busy. I want to be here, here, and here, and I want to have this much work. And then this much work came, and I was like, holy shit, I don't have a life anymore. Like, dude, I still got three. I gotta raise a family, right? I gotta, like, how do I do this? Like I felt like, okay, well, Deion Sanders, he's playing football and he's playing basketball. A lot of people don't get that. Of course, he's a dad. Of course, he's a husband, whatever it may be, right? He's a family man. It's not even, you can't even put that into the equation. But he's playing not one sport, but two sports in the same week, right? He's got to play football,
yeah, I
and
can't
it's like, all right,
fathom that. I can't
take
fathom.
off the thing, jump on a helicopter, and go play baseball, right? And he might be in the outfield and be like, yo, man, that interception, wait, I'm playing baseball. What are you talking about? So now I started realizing few people have one successful career in their life.
Yeah.
I've had three, right? And like now I'm overlapping careers in current time. So it's a little difficult to like navigate through all this. And with the overlapping jobs or like the careers, like I have a cannabis brand, right? And then I have, the jewelry thing. And then I have my brand partnerships. And I'm like, all right, how do I make sure they don't interfere with each other, but they all get along? Like, I'm like, damn, this is crazy. So that's why I use the Dion thing because, it's like you can be a sportscaster and still play sports. But at the same time, like playing football and basketball, it's difficult because it's two professional things. So like, with what's going on with me right now, I would love to. I've evolved to a point now where I can maybe have other people kind of run things, and I can kind of
That's
not have to
goals.
be.
That's goals.
Yeah, I don't have to be in there 24/7, and I do trust the people that are running the companies to do what I would think would be best for everyone.
Yeah.
And with that said, now, um, you know, I'm doing things that I think my kids would think were cool, and still maintaining to get the bag, and still maintain to, increase my worth, and not just in a financial, but I mean in my namesake, in my brand, and like, like again, it's dope for us to walk somewhere and my kids see me on a billboard, you know, um, you know, to have these sneaker deals and these partnerships, like, yo, you want your own sneaker? And I'm like, yeah, man, I don't think I'm ready for that yet. Why not? Because I'm not there here. And if you guys just push it and I'm not there, then I feel like my heart's not in it and I want to be fully committed. Do you know what I mean? Like you could be in a relationship, you see somebody that's attractive, right?
Yeah.
This ain't no one night stand, bro. People are too old for all that, right?
Yes.
You want to have a relationship, you want to have, it can't just be the physical attraction, it has to be the mental attraction too. So I look at that with business in the same way, right? Oh, it's just money. No, there's ethics involved, right? People might be involved in the wrong things and doing different things. And I've never been that guy. I've always been the loudmouth guy, laugh now, cry later, and with the family, with the kids, with a lot to think about, I just had to grow up in short.
No, I love that because some people, if you're in a position where you are living paycheck to paycheck, it's hard to turn down opportunities. You don't have that luxury, but you're at a point where you got to the point, basically, you said you grew up to where now you can make the decision, nah, even though you got the bag, I'm not there. And even though you got the bag, nah, that ain't for me.
Right.
I love that because that's where you want to be. That's what I call that freedom, where it's like, if I want to do it, I'm gonna do it. If I don't want to do it, peace. Like that's that freedom. So everybody should want to get to that point. I got to ask you about sports a little bit because my Hawks are turning up. I know you've been keeping track. I know you're a Lakers fan,
Yeah,
but
no.
listen, I want to hear your thoughts on the Hawks because a lot of people didn't believe the Hawks going into the playoffs, period. Now a lot of minds are changing. So what are your thoughts on the Hawks?
let me tell you something. I'm not really a gigantic fan of Trey Young, and not because he's not incredibly gifted and talented. It's just like it just didn't. I just was like, man, bro, this little scrawny dude, man. Like, I didn't trying to hear all this. And like every time I fight something and it keeps coming back,
Uh-huh.
you know, it's beyond the truth. Like it's the real deal. So you know, I got to be honest with you. Why would I pay attention to Trey Young or the Atlanta Hawks all season long? Why would I? I'm only watching Laker games, whoever the Lakers play, and if things pull up on Sports Center or First Take or whatever it is, right? Every morning watch Get Up, First Take, and then I go do my day, right?
Crazy.
So like you see certain things. I'm not following until it gets to the playoffs. Playoffs, I'm watching every single game. I don't care who it is. I'm watching every game. Well, I'm watching these Knicks. And I'm like, man, Nick's about to wax this ass, man, bro. It's not even gonna be funny, man. See what happened, man. Look at let's see, dog. My boy Julius Randle, man. I know he's because there's so many Lakers that left, and they're all like amazing players, like from Lonzo to Julius to Jordan Clarkson, and everything. I'm like, what the hell? How did we get rid of all these people, right? Like, it's crazy. So this dude named Trey Young pull up to Madison Square Garden and is, they call him Mr. Cloudy because he's pissing on everyone's parade, right? He just comes out there and he's. I'm like, wait a second. I didn't know he had that in him. Like, all that. I didn't know he had all that. Yeah. It was crazy. So, playing amazing. He has what, 5 30-point games in the playoffs right now, right? He's crushing it. And last night,
come on now,
watching the game at the third quarter,
yeah,
I do the unthinkable.
What did you turn it? I know you didn't turn it off.
I turned the TV off.
No, man, come
on. I turned the TV off. I have my sister, my nieces, people over. We're chilling. I'm playing ping pong. I'm kicking it. Whatever. Boom. A boy calls me. He's like, bro, did you see that? And I was like, I see what? I was like, bro, see what? See the Sixers be crushing these fools? Like, what, 20 pounds? And he goes, don't tell me you turned the game off.
Come on.
I was like, turn that punk ass game off. Why? What happened? He goes, bro. Takes 10, 15 minutes, sends me a YouTube link. And I'm like, bro, why are you sending me a YouTube link? They won?
Yeah.
Nah, bro. No. Yeah. I got goosebumps right now, right? Thinking about it. Because I go back and I scan a little bit. I'm like, yo. Now, I know everyone wants to blame the little homie, Ben Simmons and everything, right? Cool. But at the end of the day, man.
You gotta get up, man. Like everybody wants to make every excuse other than the Hawks are like that, down 22 in 13 minutes.
I get it. People miss shots. That's the nature of the game. But you not giving up and you just how you doing? I'm still here.
Yeah, hey, exactly.
And it's like, it's just shit, man. Like,
you gotta like that. I don't care what nobody say. Our team, like the swag that they walk with right now, they know everybody was thinking exactly how you were. You can't help but like the swag that the Hawks are rolling with right now. They are like, they walking out the buildings looking at folks like you know what I mean? Like that's a different type of.
I recorded my show this morning, right? And it came out today. And I said, you know what? I would love it if the Hawks went all the way. I was like,
yes.
I said, look, I would love to see a healthier Nets get there. But I said, man, right now, I'm all about the underdog. Always. You want to talk about underdog? Like, that's as underdog as you get. And I said, look, man, Trey, Hawks, ATL, it's just got to happen now. You know what I mean? And I think about
actually, you like the city of Atlanta. By the way, just on a side note, we talked before, we had a conversation before where other than sports, we know you're Lakers, we know you're LA all the way. We get that. But cities wise, you showed love to Atlanta before plenty of times. Like you.
In fact, you know what? When I did the Remy Martin collaboration, Remy Martin asked me, can you pick 2 cities? And I want you to make keys to the city. Of course I'll pick Los Angeles, right? Yeah. And so the next person goes, okay, so New York is the other city? And I was like, no. They're like, San Francisco? And I was like, no. I mean, I love those 2 cities more than anything. And they're like, okay, well, Chicago? And I was like, no, man. And they're like, what? I was like, I get to pick, right? They're like, yes, as a corporation, we're letting you pick this, because we know Los Angeles is there. What's the next city? I said, Hotlanta.
Come on.
404. And so when I did that key, the iced out key, we gave it to Black, right? Six Black, right? So we gave him the key to the city, Atlanta, and I put Hotlanta on there, and people are like, I was like, man, it's just something about that Southern, hospitality, just just I just always have a good time out there. It's not just because of the shrimp poor boy sandwiches or whatever. It's like just something about that Peachtree Boulevard. I don't know. It's a different thing. So yeah, I definitely got love for him, but I haven't paid attention to the Hawks since like Dominique Wilkins days, right? It's just right now. I said it in my podcast. I said, look, I really do want CP3 to get a ring. I did say that, even though like they beat us, but I would not be mad if Atlanta Hawks won it all and get the chip. I wouldn't be mad.
Let's go. I love it. Look, I'm in it on that. We would not be mad if the Hawks went all the way. No one should be mad because the swag they walking with, Trae Young is shushing Madison Square Gardens. I mean, they talking about Clint Capella was like, no, we don't need none of those all defensive awards, which he should have been on. We don't need that. We just gonna go out there.
Coaching. Come on, man. Like
make it make sense. Like that's what I'm saying. We didn't get anything. Trae Young was not an all-star when the all-star game was in Atlanta. You can't make this stuff up. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. And you know what? Can I say something before we do go?
Yes.
All these things that are going on in my life is cool, whatever. I don't really think I'm that. Honestly, to tell you, like to keep it 100. I don't really think I'm all that cool or whatever. And I don't want this saying fishing for nothing. You to me are like way, way above. Like I put you on such a high pedestal. Like seriously, just beyond the athlete thing, as a human being, Renee, like from afar, I tell you, like I really do put you up. Like if I could be 1/10 of you, I would wake up like yo, I did it. I'm good.
You're crazy. Thank you, man. I appreciate. Like it's crazy. See, I look at you like that. I appreciate it because in women's sports, as you know, we don't get a lot of love. Like women's sports, women's basketball, we don't get a lot of love on that type of bend the baller, did the chain style love. So I appreciate that when it happens because we know athletes, and you're an athlete, so athletes respect athletes. You hear Kobe before he passed away, he talked big time about the WNBA and what we're doing. So if you know, you know. So I appreciate you for being one of the ones that know for real. That's what's up.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And lastly, Ben, before you go, my fiance made me ask this. If you ever come out of retirement, can you design my wedding band? I have one of the rubber band ones that all the athletes wear. I don't have one. She told me to ask. I'm sorry I had to.
No. Look it, man. You know what? Let the summer pass.
Yeah.
And let's look it. I'm vaccinated, man. I'm ready to pull up on you somewhere and let's get the rings tied.
Don't threaten me with a good time. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Thank you, Ben, for joining me on Remotely Renee.
Thank you so much.